The next free modifier we can use is called, oops, I missed off the dot, is called an absolute phrase. And again, this one's slightly tricky, but you'll get the hang of it, I'm sure. And we use absolute phrases to kind of zoom in on a detail of something in the level one. So we have something in level one, and the absolute phrase kind of zooms in and gives more detail about that thing. And it's kind of a cool thing to use. So these three examples are examples of absolute phrases. And if you look at them, you should be able to work out there's something missing about these phrases. Okay, they're almost sentences, but they're not quite. So her needle's moving effortlessly fast. A bright blue hat on his head. It's loose bricks a safety hazard. Okay, all three of those phrases are missing one thing that would make it into a sentence. And that thing is the verb to be. Okay, so was or were. If we had those two options, I don't know what happened. If we had those two options in the sentence, in the phrase, there would be sentences. So her needles were moving effortlessly fast, that's a sentence. A bright blue hat was on his head. Its loose bricks were a safety hazard. All right, those would be complete sentences. Those would be level ones. But if you take out the to be verb, then you're left with an absolute phrase. So an absolute phrase is a simple sentence that would normally use was or were or other forms of to be, okay? But they've been taken out. And what you're left with is called an absolute phrase. And they're really cool if you know how to use them properly. So let's look at how we would use these phrases to modify a level one. So let's look at how to use absolute phrases as free modifiers. So what did we get? In the first one, we have our level one, my grandma was knitting. So this is a sentence where it has the to be verb in it. So was, in this case, makes it a complete sentence. So our level one is my grandma was knitting. Makes sense by itself, has a verb, has a subject, good. And then we added on her needles moving effortlessly fast. That's our absolute phrase that we've added on as a free modifier, okay? You wouldn't be able to do her needles were moving effortlessly fast like this because that's a comma splice. It's two complete sentences joined together. You could put a semicolon if you did that, and then you have two complete sentences, that's fine. But remember, you're only allowed to have one level one at any one time. So in this case, we have level two as a free modifier, which is an absolute phrase. Then again, if we put the free modifier here in the second slot between the subject and the verb, then we get the little boy, comma, free modifier, a bright blue hat on his head, comma, ate his ice cream. So our level one is the little boy ate his ice cream. And the free modifier is a bright blue hat on his head. All right, and that's in position number two in the sentence. And then finally, we have a free modifier, an absolute phrase in position one. Okay, so our level two here comes before our level one. And the level one is the old building loomed over me. And the level two is it's loose bricks a safety hazard. So we've put that at the start. Now, as always, we can put these level twos, these free modifiers, anywhere in the sentence pretty much in terms of the three slots. So we could have her needles moving effortlessly fast, comma, my grandma was knitting. Or we could have my grandma, comma, her needles moving effortlessly fast, comma, was knitting. Same with the second one. We could have a bright blue hat on his head, comma, the little boy ate his ice cream. Or we could have the little boy ate his ice cream, comma, a bright blue hat on his head. And again, with the final one, we could have the old building loomed over me, comma, its loose bricks a safety hazard. Or we could have the old building, comma, its loose bricks a safety hazard, comma, loomed over me. Okay? So again, any free modifier can go in any of the three slots.